It's been another volatile week in the markets, with the NASDAQ reaching correction territory before staging a huge intraday recovery on Friday to close up for the day. In this video, I'll cover off my open and close trades for the week and also how this volatility has impacted on the performance of the portfolio. Hi guys, hope everyone's safe and well. As always, please remember that the contents of this video are not intended as financial advice. They're my opinions and my opinions only. So it's been another volatile week in the markets. The NASDAQ at one point was in correction territory, which is normally classed as a 10% pullback from recent highs. I'll jump into the NASDAQ chart shortly, but it staged a huge recovery on Friday. As you can see here, the biggest intraday recovery since last year. So very volatile. We took some positions on Friday, a lot of positions actually, 16 in total, to make the most of the opportunities that presented themselves. So I'll cover off the stats for the week and also open and close positions for the week shortly. But we'll just quickly just cover off the major indices and their performances. So this is the NASDAQ. So like I say, it was whipsawing up and down for a lot of the week. It was down by quite a substantial amount on Friday. It finished up down just over 2% for the week. So 2.06% down was the NASDAQ. And then if we have a quick look at the S&P. So the S&P finished up just under 1% up for the week. So, you know, there's been a lot of talk recently about what's causing the volatility. I posted a video last week about what, you know, the rationale behind some of these suggestions. One is about the bond yields, which is sort of making people move away from the growth stocks, the tech stocks. Another reason could be stock rotation, so people moving out of the tech stocks and into the sort of the recovery stocks, the cyclical stocks, now that the economies are sort of on the mend or seem to be on the mend. I won't go into too much detail in this video. I posted a video on that last week, so you're more than welcome to watch that. But yeah, one thing that I'd say is in all this volatility, we've been positioned very well. We've held about 15% cash or 10-15% cash in the portfolio, and we deployed a lot of that on Friday. So if I quickly just cover off how we did, how the portfolio did for the week. Again, stats not quite updated yet, which is frustrating. They should update at midnight every night, but they don't. So even though I'm down 0.51% at the moment, this should actually go down by a further 1% to finish around about 1.5% down so far for March, which actually I'm quite pleased with. When you consider the amount of volatility, obviously the NASDAQ, you know, was down 2% just this week. There's a lot of PIs, popular investors on Etoro, who are down, you know, 6 to 10%, and you know they've got thousands of copiers. So to be there, to be only down 1.5% for this month is really good. I put that down to you know, good risk management, diversified portfolio, and then obviously holding some cash in hand to deploy when we saw fit. So that leads us on to quickly covering off the closed positions for the week. So we finished up 3.90% of a realized profit for the week, so that's quite high. And the reason that is because I closed out some older positions, ones that I could have probably held on to, but looked like they were pulling back. So Aston Martin we've held for quite a long time, since April and June last year. I still think this one's got a long way to go, but it's starting to hit quite a bit of resistance. So we may jump in on that one in the next couple of weeks, but we've closed out with an 83 and a 73% gain on that one. So we pulled back some cash on that. And then a couple of other nice ones. IAG, we've only had that one open for just over a month. So 44% gain on that one. And then as you can see, quite a few others. United Airlines, just under 20% gain. Spirit Aerosystems, under 20% gain. So closed out 10 trades in total, giving us a 3.90% realized return. That cash come in handy because we were able to open a lot of new positions. Before we jump into the technical entry points for a lot of the positions, because there are quite a few. I just wanted to quickly revisit something I touched on in my last video, which was the NASDAQ, which is obviously getting a lot of attention at the moment. So I did cover off, if we just quickly zoom out of this one slightly so we can make it a bit easier to see. So I did cover off how it had been in an uptrend for quite a while, and how it's starting to detach itself away from that uptrend. So this is just on the weekly charts. If I zoom in, so yeah, as I touched on last week, you can see it sort of fairly respecting this trend line. And one of the areas that I was interested in was how it was going to react to this sort of 12,000 area, or 12,500 area. So as you can see, got a bearish engulf in there, followed by another bearish move there. This is on the weekly chart. If we switch to the daily chart, we can see what looks like a bullish move on the Friday. So this is the sort of top that we were talking about here. This is the 12,000 area that I was referring to, and you can see here, so it's hit the low, which was round about, where are we? It was round about just under 12,500, and then you got this strong bullish move up. So, you know, it could be next week, or it looks like next week, we're going to see it pushing up higher, which is why one of the reasons why we've taken some positions in some of the technology stocks that were quite heavily sold into this week. If it does break lower, then obviously we need to be prepared for that. So we could then see that drop significantly to around about the 10,000 area. I don't think we're going to see that yet. I think if anything, we'll probably see it bounce up, maybe not hit the highs, and then maybe just range lower. But you know, that's just me speculating at this point. But what it does mean is that if I jump into some of the positions that we've opened, so this first one is Jumia, which is the African e-commerce and fintech company. It's a position actually that we had opened before. We made a 700% profit. I did a video on that, worrying that I'd actually closed out too early on that trade, but it turns out my timing wasn't actually too bad. So if I quickly go through the technical entry on this one, so this is on the daily chart. So just to give you a bit of perspective, so hopefully you can see this okay. So there's some key areas of support and resistance that I've marked off. But essentially, I think last year we got into a position around about here, around about 4, and we rode it all the way up to around about here. So it was around about the 45 mark. And then we had these sort of bearish candles here. So we closed out the position thinking that it would drop down to this area. It didn't. It pushed up, went significantly higher. But as you can see, since it's made these highs around about the 65 mark, it's then plummeted like a lot of tech stocks have. But we basically opened a position. We were waiting to open a position because I did want to get back into this one, but I felt it was quite overvalued. We've basically opened it on this candle here. So you can see here it's testing. It pulled all the way back down to around about 30 or 31. And then it's ended up closing the day on the high. So this area is a support area that I've marked off, which is the sort of channel resistance here, and then also close to previous support, previous resistance area. You can see this again on the weekly chart as well. If I show you that, we just switch to that. So yeah, it's probably a little bit clearer. So yeah, you can see here it's touched this sort of channel support and retracted. So you know, it might be next week it falls a little bit lower back down to there. But this is a stock that like I said, I had before, and I was with the view to hold for a long time, but it got such a huge amount of profit in a short space of time that I felt it was quite overvalued. So you know, if this one drops, even if this drops back down to these sort of lower levels, where are we? If this drops back down to sort of like the 30 mark again, you know, I'm happy to hold that. I may even add to it if it drops even further. Again, I think this one's got a lot of potential. So yeah, quite happy to open a position in that one. Another one that I've been watching for a while, Tesla, which, you know, is hot on everyone's lips, or it has been for a while. This one's had a huge sell-off, but it's still been respecting this sort of longer term trend line. So we actually opened a position this week on Friday as it was selling off quite heavily. So again, you know, this is all speculation on my part, but what I can see from a technical standpoint is hitting this same area of resistance. You know, it's not too far away from support area. You could see it drop back down and test this area again. I'm fairly confident that we're going to see this this sort of bounce up to at least, where are we, to at least sort of 800, 900 area. So I do think that a lot of technology stocks were basically offered up on a discount on Friday. I think there's obviously a lot of fear out there at the moment, but I think we've catapulted. We've captured the that fear and opened some great opportunities in stocks that I think were undervalued. So that was Tesla. Another one, Peloton, one we've had our eye on for a while. This one could be seen as slightly more risky. Again, this is on the daily charts. So this has actually dropped down below its sort of trend resistance, but this is what I'm looking at here. So we've got a support area which is bounced off of just under the 100 mark, and you can see tested a new low, closed up here on the high. So we've opened a position in that one. I say it's slightly risky in that it had been respecting the trend line and it had broken through that trend line. So, you know, we do have to be careful with that, but it's a small amount of the portfolio, so I think it was worth the risk. And then another stock that we've opened a position in is Fiverr. Again, this one, I felt this one was quite heavily overvalued, so we waited for an opportune moment to get in that, and I think we saw that again on Friday. This one has been respecting a trend line. Again, this is the daily chart. You can see here it's been touching this uptrending support area. So on Friday we opened a position after it sort of touched on this area. Again, it might drift lower, but I'm fairly confident that we could see this move higher. It might be that we start to see him push up again to these previous highs and then fall back. So, you know, we've got to watch it, but I think the risk to reward ratio was pretty good in getting in these positions. I'm going to, apologies, I know I'm flying through these, but there's a lot of similarities between the sort of technical entry points. So like I said, there were 16 positions open in total, and a lot of the sort of technical sort of entries were quite similar. So this one is in Inovio Pharmaceuticals. This is a biotechnology company that specializes in DNA medicine. Again, another sort of, this is on the daily chart again. We've seen a strong reaction to what looks like an area of support around about the 8.30 mark. So again, when it comes to support and resistance areas, you know, it's not a definitive like layout. You know, it's very subjective, but at the same time, as you can see, you can be fairly, I say fairly loose with it, but if you look at where we sort of the areas that we're touching here and then seeing a strong reaction off of, it's fairly easy to place an area of support and then see how price reacts around that area. So with Inovio, we've seen previously, you know, strong bullish candle there, strong bullish candle there, strong reaction there, and then again we've seen this. So we've got a low into support on this candle, and then it actually closes up all the way up here. So it could be that we may see this move up, even if it moves up to sort of 14.2, around about that area. That'll still give us a nice little return. So that was one of the stocks, another stock that we opened. And then another sort of health related stock is which is a pharmaceutical company, one of the largest pharmaceutical companies in the world. They've got about 7,500 products on offer. So they're very well established. As you can see, stock price has taken a bit of a beating in the last week. But if we're zooming down into an area of support around about 13, just over 13, this is quite a bullish move here. So on Thursday, it sort of created a new low, closed slightly higher, and then Friday, it didn't actually go any lower than the previous low, but closed up significantly higher. So that's quite a bullish move, which could see us, we might consolidate a little bit and then push up higher. But we're looking for it to sort of hit at least 16, maybe 17 fairly soon. So that's another one that we've opened a position in. And then another position we've opened is in Agnico Eagle Mines, which is a precious metal mining company. I think they're headquartered in Canada, but they've got operations all over the world, and they mine primarily for gold, but also zinc, copper, silver. So a precious metals mining company. With all the talk of inflation, normally when there's talk of inflation and fears of inflation, you see a lot of people flood into gold, but that's not been the case. So it's been sort of an area that I wanted to have a little bit of exposure to was precious metals and mining, because of the talk of inflation, but there weren't really any opportunities out there until now. So there were actually a few other mining companies that I was looking at, but this one looked like it offered the best entry point. So this is, again, an area of support. You can see these sort of three bullish moves here. So right on the area of support, you've got the bullish engulfing candle here, another bullish reaction there, another bullish engulfing candle, and then you've got that sort of closing of the higher there. So again, I think even though gold prices have sort of drifted lower, you do find that there is a bit of a delay on the mining companies, or the prices of the mining companies in relation to gold. So I do think we could see this one drift up higher, even if it goes up to sort of the 62 and further mark. That would still give us quite a nice return. And then another position, we're flying through these. Another position, Lumentum Holdings, which is a telecommunications company. They deal with the optical and phonetic products for networking and the like. We've actually had a position in Lumentum before. I think we had it when it bounced off of a trend line down here previously. So just to zoom out, give you some perspective on it. So this one's sort of been, again, in a fairly consistent trend line, bouncing off of this trend line over the last sort of 2 years. And then you can see a large drop off recently, and then this reaction just shy of the trend line. So we may have gone a little bit early on this one, but you've got this hammer candle here. So new low into support, close on the high. So, and this one again on the weekly chart, this has also been respecting that trend line on the weekly chart. So got quite nice conviction on this one. Again, it might drift slightly lower. We may have gone a little bit early, but I'm fairly confident that it's going to end up going higher over time. So not too worried about holding that one for a little while. And then if we go to the next one, which is Itaú Unibanco, this is a Brazilian multinational bank. Now this one does have an element of risk, and the reason being is that we've got what looks like a really nice entry point here. So you've got this ascending channel with a bullish engulfing candle. This is on the weekly chart as well, so a longer time frame. Bullish engulfing candle right off of this support area. Now it looks obvious that this is going to trade up through this channel, but this also potentially could be a bear flag. Now a bear flag pattern is normally like a continuation pattern that you would see in a downtrend. So when I say a bear flag, so you've got what looks like the pole here, and then this sort of flag that's forming here. So I hope that you can visualize that. But when you see these patterns, what they traditionally would do is, when you see a break out of this to the downside of this support area, it would then continue trending down. So we need to be careful of that. But I think when you look at the macroeconomic picture of potentially raising interest rates and inflation, banks banks tend to do well in those scenarios. So, you know, for the risk, I think it's worth taking a position. So we'll see. And then just a few more positions. Hopefully you're still with me. So this one is in Neurocrine Biosciences. So this is, again, another pharmaceutical company. This one, again, has been respecting an upward moving trend line. As you can see from the markings here, 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 and then on Friday, or last week, you saw a huge drop off and then a reaction here. I think if we jump into the daily chart on this one, again, another similar candle. You've got a new low, or not a new low, but a daily low, and then it closed up on the high. So we took a position in that one as well, backed by this sort of, you know, this rising trend line. That's where I'm looking to I guess get an edge, or my edge is looking at, one, you know, the company, is it a solid company financially, are the prospects good, and then two, from a technical entry point, how can I give myself some comfort in the positions that I'm opening, and that is looking at the technical support and resistance areas. The last couple of positions then, so NIO, apologies, is a Chinese company. They create electric scooters and other sort of similar products. This one, again, short trend line. We've not got a lot of data to work with on this one. But if we go to the daily charts, again, a similar candle, close on the low, new high, and it's been respecting these sort of most recent trend lines. So potential element of risk to this one, because we've not got a lot of data to work with. But again, we've only exposed ourselves with a small amount in the portfolio. So we'll monitor it closely and see how we get on with that. And then the last one is in Chemed Corp. This is the weekly chart. So this is actually gives us a little bit more data. This one's been dating back to 2017. It's been in this sort of upward trend. Again, last week, we've seen this sort of pull back to trend line support. And on the daily, gives me quite a lot of conviction in this one, because we've got a huge bullish engulfing candle. Sorry, I'm a little bit jittery with the mouse on there. So starts below the previous day's candle, closes significantly higher, completely engulfs the whole of the previous day. So a really sort of bullish move. So this one could start to resume back towards its trend line up here. So that is one that we might hold for a while. So there was quite a lot of trades that we've just run through for the week. That wasn't actually all of the trades from a technical standpoint. We opened 16 in total on Friday. So there are a few others which are in the portfolio, which you're welcome to have a look at. I didn't want to sort of overwhelm or do such a long video that it sort of send people to sleep. Hopefully that's not the case, and it's not doing it already. But it just gives you an idea on what I'm looking for in stocks and positions and areas of support and resistance for me to open a trade. So I think Friday was a really good day. We've been patient. We've held cash for a good few weeks, waiting for an opportunity. And I think we saw that on Friday. I think we hopefully, again, no one knows, it is all speculation, but I think looking at the charts, we could see some bullish reaction in the next sort of couple of weeks. So if not, then we need to be prepared for that, which is why we've only opened positions with a small amount of equity. But I think we could see some sort of bullish moves over the next couple of weeks, which we've taken advantage of. As always, if you want to copy my trades, you can do so on my Etoro profile page. The link is in the description. On my page, there'll be a big copy button in the top right corner. If you click that and then click on copy open trades, that will basically open every trade that I also open at the percentage of whatever you invest into me. The minimum obviously is $500. I covered that in the video last week. If you had any questions on that, obviously you can drop me a message or make a comment in this video. If you wanted to stay up to date with my thoughts on the market, my weekly updates, and any sort of tips that I hopefully can put forward through my experience, then you can subscribe to my YouTube channel. It'd be great to get some feedback as well. If there's anything that you want me to cover, if there's anything in my videos that you don't think are worthwhile covering, potentially they're too long, a little bit sort of laborious. If you want me to sort of mix it up a little bit, then it'd be great to get some feedback. So please do put that in the